Yeah, and speaking of Rudi Garcia, let me talk about the comments ADL had on Rudi Garcia here. He says, it's not good at the moment with Rudi Garcia. When you decide to go for a coach who doesn't know Italian football anymore, it can happen. Big words there. I'll make the best decision at the right moment. I can't be influenced by fans. It sure feels like he's going to let this guy go at some point in the near future. Maybe international break. Maybe going to find out how much Conte is going to cost. I don't know who's available, but I mean, how do you say that I understand if he said, "Hey, if he said everything but that the middle part where he says, "I picked a coach who doesn't know Italian football anymore." I mean, those are big words to say about your coach who's currently on your team.
ADL has already decided to sack Rudi Garcia. It's just a matter of when
Yeah.
we now find out. That was the kiss of death. That was the fish in the bulletproof vest. I didn't even know that he said it until you just pulled it up on screen,
Yeah.
and that doesn't surprise me. ADL doesn't get along with people for a living, and he makes a fortune off it. He's done a great job with Napoli, but he will make all the decisions that he wants. He's just picking his timing here with this.
Okay, two questions for you then. First, do you agree with this? If he does fire him, do you agree with the firing? Because is it too soon, right? Like before last season, Napoli were certainly contenders, right? But last year they obviously dominated the league, and I have a feeling that ADL expects to have the same results this year, even with a new manager and missing some key pieces like Kim Min Jae. And it doesn't work like that. Like if you're in contention, you should be the way. And I think letting him go would be a mistake. And I'm sure Napoli fans would be like, no, no, get rid of him, right? And I get it, but it's probably too soon because like who are you gonna bring in? And I'll get to that second part about who you're gonna bring in, but I think it may be too soon to bring in or to get rid of Rudi Garcia. I think you should let it play out because I think he'll certainly be a scudetto contender this year. I mean, no one's gonna pull away this year. I mean, what are your thoughts on if they potentially get rid of him?
It's too soon in theory, obviously. It's only 8 games into the season. And if we were looking at it strictly from a results point of view, we wouldn't even be discussing it. But there seems to be some bridges that have already been set on fire here. And that ADL comment there just confirms it for me. Yeah, the whole Osimhen disaster on the pitch and off the pitch. And then you've just got the questionable substitutions, the drop points at
Yeah.
home as well, which will really vex ADL. There's something about losing in his backyard that he will hate more than anything this
Yeah.
season. And yeah, his decision has been made. I think it is still too early, but also I know modern day athletes, they don't really dig as deep as the ones that I used to grow up. I'm sorry to say it, man. They like change consistently because they're
Yeah.
very quick. All I can do is relate this to my experience as an Inter fan, man. When Papa Antonio Conte left, he left a bunch of athletes that were there, and they decided to have a big sook about it. It's a conversation for another time, and it's not just Romelu Lukaku. It's a whole host of Inter players that are very responsible for being a bunch of sooks at a given time when our manager left. And I have absolutely no doubt that factions have formed in that Napoli locker room, and most of them are talking about how they miss Spalletti and how this isn't the right coach to bring them forward. And once players have collectively started talking about that, oh my, it's hard to turn that around. And I don't think Garcia's got the personality to turn it around. I don't think he's got the relationship skills and the
Yes.
relationships prior built, nor the pedigree and the name for himself. So no reputation. I think it's all lost now. So now it might be a sense of ADL's just said this as a way to let everybody know we're pulling the plug and I'm ripping the band-aid off now in the international break. I'm doing it.
I think if he's gonna do it, he should do it now, and not wait till when it's an inopportune. You got to have a 2 week window there. We kind of you see many teams who are struggling at the moment are bringing in new managers in during this break. So you got a couple weeks to kind of get your team integrated to your philosophy and everything. And yeah, it's just like the whole Osimhen thing with the substitutions. It's just very the factions have obviously formed back behind the scenes. We saw this when Carlo Ancelotti was there with the previous regime, right? Insignes and the merchants of the world. You saw a similar thing, and so it would not surprise me if that's the case. Yeah, you need to pull the plug and get rid of him, right? But if it's just based on the results, then it's way too soon. But